Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to another Slime Isekai Memories video. So we're here, a little bit late, about, a week or two-ish late, but we're here with the tier list. I figured, why not? I might as well update it, like, better late than never, I guess. And this is giving me a little bit more time to use these units and to, I guess, maybe rate them more accurately. I don't know. This is just my opinion. Let me know down below if you guys have any differences or you think one is better than the other. But just to go down the list, we have top tier, which is like the best characters in the game overall, like whether on their team or just in general. They have a lot of like uses. You would constantly be using them, or they're like a first option typically. S tier is like pretty much top tier, but like they're either just something about them is slightly more niche, or like they serve another purpose that isn't typically seen or needed as much as these guys, but they're still like absolutely great. A tier is a little bit of the same, but obviously more niche or just good, but like not as great as S, and then all the way down protection. And then C and D are pretty much just like awful. But I mean, D is like bottom of the barrel. Like, you really, maybe once or twice you'll use them for something, but like, yeah, you'll pretty much for most of the time you'll never really touch these guys unless you have no choice, or like you need to do some real gimmicky stuff. So that's top tier S, A, B, C, and D. So I think I'll start with Mirai. Let me pull them up so we can like take a look at their kit. So first, Mirai. She was the main DPS. She has the live mode, and she gives you the 40% ult gauge on green orbs for 1 turn, and she also increases all allies attack by 2% until the end of battle based on the number of souls used. So I'm pretty sure it's just souls in general, and it'll scale with that. It's unlimited. So every orb you use will add an extra 2% attack to this. So you can get 12% every time, and then every time you use it, it'll stack another 12%. So if you use it 4 times in a row, you'll be at 48% increase, which is pretty good, but you're not always going to be spamming this, considering like with Reru, I feel like you can kind of spam it, but it's not to the point where it'll be like some super insane crazy number, because you'll want to focus on other skills and stuff like that. And then her other skills reach to the future, so 50 skill points are 40, and then she gives you a full new green hand, and then increases green orb damage by 15%, but I think at max it is 30 or 40, I think. Let me check. Let me go check really quickly. So yeah, for this it's 50%, and then for that one it is 20%. This goes up to 20. I think. Wait, did I get that wrong? 25. Sorry, 25%. My bad. 25%. So overall, she has a pretty decent kit, I would say. Like the live mode isn't bad. There's no real restriction with it. It's just mainly for green orbs. And you'll just increase this. It's not like it's locked to pretty sparkle like the force. So it's good there. And then you can also use this outside of that. And then, she has a single target ult and stuff like that. Her protection gauge is pretty good. The only thing is, I just don't know where else you would use her. We can check the Goddess of Destiny Force right now, because she's on that, and Commander's not a real team. Goddess of Destiny, Millum is the only one that leads it, and you can use her on here, right? And it's not like it wouldn't be bad, because you get crit rate, you get skill point increase, you get the light seeking souls. So like it's not a bad option on this team, but how often are you really running Goddess of Destiny in the first place? You have Soka already. You have like the Shuna is insane. Midai is definitely still a great option though. So I think I am going to put her in S. I don't consider her top tier because she's not like, her skills are niche enough, are good, are like very good, but and work the best in their niche categories. But I'm outside of like the Goddess of Destiny and where is it? And Pretty Sparkle. Like, you're not really gonna be bringing her into a different team, right? There's no real there's no real other teams that I can see, at least, that you would be like bringing her into. What other, I mean, we can check like what other green teams are there. Not you. I can't, you don't really, like, you're not using her with Vengeance. You're not using her in World of Fantasy either. I think you could just use like Soka or something, and I think Soka would be more valuable. But overall, like, I mean, I guess, yeah, she works with World of Fantasy. So yeah, Midai is good. Like, I feel like I don't want to sound like I'm downplaying her. She's good. I just don't think she's in that level of like Blanc or something like that, where, you know, you're gonna be bringing her outside of these teams, and like just using her in everyday stuff, right? Overall, she's good, very good, but she's not like top tier. Also, these aren't ordered, so new as addition, I'm just gonna put her down here. So next we have Shizuka, Mogami Shizuka, the next battle character. So she also has a live mode, but she decreases secret skill damage resistance up to 10% unlimited, and then the same thing for attack. And then she also gives an unlimited weakness strike by 20%, and she also heals. So Shizuka, I think, kind of falls into the same boat. She is on Pretty Sparkle, Wielder of Magic, and Fountain of Wisdom. Wielder of Magic, I can open that really quickly. She could work okay, I think, on Wielder of Magic. The only thing, like, is that her skill for this works with Soul of Skills. So not really, this part is pretty much useless on the Wielder of Magic. I mean, you can use it, but like, how often are you going to be using a lot of green orbs on the Wielder of Magic team? Not very often. This one, I think, like, sure, you could bring her in, and you can use her to do damage, especially if you'll be doing extra like damage done by Wielder of Magic force characters to fire attribute enemies. So you could use her as like basic damage, or as like a little bit of a support with her ultimate, and then the stacking of weakness strike. So she's definitely not bad on this team. And then obviously also on Pretty Sparkle, she works great on this team. Obviously they're all meant to work really well together. So keeping that all in mind, I think she's also just gonna go right next to Midai. I don't think, like, you can use her on Wielder of Magic, you can use her on Pretty Sparkle, but you're not bringing her into anywhere else. I haven't really tried like bringing her into another team to stack her weakness strike. I feel like oftentimes you would just use like Hinata or something, and I can't imagine, like, I wouldn't bring Shizuka as like my first, like, she wouldn't be my first option to bring. So I feel like you can definitely use her to stack that weakness strike, but you also have to keep in mind like how viable that is to stack other skills to bring her on like separate teams and stuff like that. She works really great on the teams, on the forces that she's on, but outside of that she doesn't. So that's, I think, what makes her fall a little bit short out of top tier, but she's still like very, very good. They have great synergy. The whole Pretty Sparkle team is pretty insane. The fact that you can just, you know, bypass and also stack up and do a lot of damage is great. But yeah, I think Midai and Shizuka both fall here. So next we have Shuna, holiday, what do they call her? Priestess Idol Shuna. So what does she do? She has a single target ultimate. She gives you skill points. She buffs all allies synergy rate by 100% for 1 turn, and then also gives magic character allies synergy power by 40%. And she also changes two ultimates into green orbs, and then increases gauge increase. So Shuna, this skill, similar to Blanc, is fantastic. I do wish it was 3 orbs because I feel like 3 is just better. We've seen that, like, you can, if you play the Pretty Sparkle team and you're trying to get everyone's ultimate, you can see that, like, you can see it come into play, because there are times when maybe you have 3 ultimates when ideally you would want 2. Then you kind of have to gamble and, like, okay, well, if I'm going to swap this character out, I'd have to hope that, like, you know, if I do this, then I want to change these, and maybe I have to use their orb changing skill or something. It just introduces a little bit more RNG, which I don't like, but 2 is always better than 1. And this is definitely a great skill. Plus she has synergy rate and works well. Like, you can just bring her as support, and also this can work outside of green teams. You can use this to, like, kind of balance it out. Like, let's say you want to use her on Wielder of Magic, and you have 4 blue, like, what, 4 blue orbs and then 2 ultimates, or, like, I don't know, 3 blue orbs and then, like, a green, I don't know, just an imbalance where you can replace the ultimates with the 2 greens and then guarantee yourself a full hand by using the Wielder of by using Millum's full orb change. It works outside of, like, just specifically green teams. And then you can also buff synergy power, and on magic teams, or synergy rate, and then on magic teams you can give them an extra synergy power, which is actually really, like, it works and helps a lot more than you would think, especially if you have, like, really good gear and, like, I don't know, more dupes and characters. Then you can really see this, especially if they have a very high attack stat, and with good gear and their EX board released and everything like that, and all your stuff, then this will come into play more than you would think. So because of that, I'm honestly gonna put Shuna in top tier, like, right, like, after Blanc, I guess. Shuna skill set, I think they made her, like, basically perfect. Like, she's exactly what I think the Pretty Sparkle team needed, what other Magic teams need as well, and what just the game needs more overall, because we've seen them put out characters like, where is he? Where are you? Where did I even put you? Am I blind? Evil Reru, are you not? Oh, there you are. So this guy, and then wherever she is, like, the hero and stuff, we've seen with characters that do 1 ult change where there weren't that many EX characters. It was like, wow, this is great. Like, you can just use that, block off an ultimate, and then, you know, bring in the other characters, and then boom, easy, right? But as we've seen with more EX characters coming out, and, like, more, like, nuking stages coming out as well with Heroes Jubilee, the multiple ult change is just too good to, like, not have. It'll always find use, always find value in PvE stages. Heroes Jubilee not so much, but, or not Heroes Jubilee, Valor Cup not so much, but in stages like Heroes Jubilee and just regular PvE stages, this Shuna will, like, that orb change skill will take you a long way. And also the synergy rate is just a good addition, right? So overall, I would say she is a fantastic unit. Of course, they could have made this 3 to make her, like, truly perfect, but they didn't. Maybe, I don't know what they were, like, holding back on. I think this could have been 3 and it wouldn't really have made that big of a deal, but still, overall, she's really good. And yeah, Shuna, I think, was perfectly made. So lastly, we have these two. We have Chloe and we have the new Millum. So Chloe, her sort of skill fusion, if I can I can find her, there you are. So Chloe's skill fusion really didn't do much for her. The main thing I think was just increasing like the amount of turns that like the buff and debuff lasted. So nothing really changed in terms of how much. Oh, I guess not much really changed with the skill fusion, but she got an extra 2 turns on the pierce rate and the water resistance down, and then the water resistance went from 30% to 40%. So it's definitely not bad, but still, I can't like confidently put her in a place that would be like very very like high, I guess. I don't even know what I'm saying, but Alice is good, but the skill fusion I think is not really too necessary unless like you don't have certain characters, which I mean I don't have, but like I still haven't done the skill fusion. I could just use Aqua instead, and Aqua is just way better, I think. Obviously they slightly serve different purposes because she has an orb change, but you also have like Kazuma and things, and you can bring Guy to supplement for that, and he also brings in an alt buff. So this skill is definitely not bad. Like I'm sure you'll find use out of it at some point, but I don't think it boosts her all the way to like up here or something like that. I think sitting in A is just fine. A is definitely, like I said, not bad. It still means like your skill still has value, right? So I think they did a good job with that, and I think she comfortably sits up there. So lastly, we have Millum's skill fusion. I wasn't expecting this dark Millum to get a skill fusion, and honestly I haven't done it yet, just because I'm pretty slow, and I mean all the issues or whatever. But let's go over it very quickly. So before, her ultimate used to buff ult damage and then increase her own attack by 15%. So definitely a good skill, right? But once you do the skill fusion at level max, she increases all dark allies attack by 25% for 1 turn. Which that it helps more because if you use her on teams where, like, I don't know, the Dark 2.0 team, if you're running it for some reason, it's just more buffs for everyone, and it's not like it's worse for her. Like there's literally, you lose nothing by doing the skill fusion, you only gain. So pretty good. I think obviously we know where she's gonna go, right next to her in top tier. She's still just a great unit. The orb change, the ult buff, she can still do damage. Her skill point protection trait and stuff like that. Overall, she's just fantastic. I enjoy having and using her, and I will do the skill fusion soon. She's just great. A lot of use outside of her own team. So yeah, works well on the Pretty Sparkle team. You're not really going to be using her ult buff all the time, but she's just a good unit to have on the team in general. So that's pretty much it for the battle characters. Let me know down below if you guys agree or disagree. And next we'll go into the protection characters. So we have the free-to-play Chloe and we have Reru. So let's check out Chloe really quickly. Chloe, I mean, she's a free-to-play. She does have a chance of making Pretty Sparkle Force units. I think it stays at 80%, or maybe it does go up to 100. I don't really remember. Did I even max out her skill? No. Okay, so it is 100%. So she at least makes everyone invincible. 100%, like 100% chance to make all Pretty Sparkle Force characters invincible, and then she also changes 2 blue to 2 green, which is not bad. I think for a free-to-play unit, we've definitely seen a lot of free-to-play units suck, but I think she's okay. Like, you can use her, and I think she comfortably sits at C. I don't know. Let me know. Well, hold on. Let me check this guy, because he does more. Like, he gives you skill cost limit increase, he gives you buffs on blue orbs, and he gives you synergy rate. Chloe is good with the invincibility, but all she does next is a 2 orb change, which not too great, but like outside of that. So I think she sits comfortably at C. I think she's on the same level as Rigard. Rigard gives a crit rate buff, I think. But Chloe, like him and Chloe do the same kind of orb change. I think it's fine that she just sits right there, right? Next, we have the Reru, Idol Reru. I think we already know. He changes 3 blue, 3 orange into green. He makes everyone invincible, and he increases all allies' magic attack until the end of battle by 12%. So, Reru obviously goes in S. I think there's no denying that all the EX protection characters are like the best in the game, obviously, for a reason. But Reru, I think is, I really like using Reru, especially the Pretty Sparkle team as a whole. Invincibility is so stupid. If you guys watch my video where I take on the Veldora event for the first time, I'm recording this right after that. I should have lost like a bunch of times. We should have taken so much damage every time he ulted. All the super counters, the like just AoE normals that he would do. Like he just kept buffing himself, but we just took 0 damage because we're invincible. We just take no damage. And the team is pretty good at cycling and giving yourself a lot of Reru like protection gauges. I don't know if that made sense, but you can use Reru a lot with that team. And he stacks attack, and he makes everyone invincible, and he makes like a full hand of green, which is usually really easy to do. And I mean, he increases magic attack as well if you have him duped, which I mean you should if you pulled him. So overall, yeah, Reru is just very fun to use, a very good unit. Invincibility is just stupid, just like Vengeance, but like they've done more to nerf Vengeance into the ground and like make stages, like at least with Vengeance you have to actually take damage to take advantage of it for the most part, like with the Vengeance counterattack. And then I mean you can use skills from the 4 Vengeance units to like stack on all the Vengeance charges. But Reru, you just make everyone invincible and you just go to town. You can just do whatever you want. And I mean, if you can guarantee yourself at least a Reru or close to it and then use the traits to get yourself there, you can be invincible for 2-3 turns straight and just take no damage while doing a ton of damage, because the rest of the team, like he's stacking attack by 12%. Then the rest of the team is also like stacking attack through the idol effect, and then like Subasa can give you the extra attack, and then Shuna can give you synergy rate. Like you just do so much damage like while remaining completely invincible and taking no damage. So obviously Reru is an S tier, but I really enjoy using him. I think he's a fantastic unit. So lastly, we have Subasa. So a free-to-play unit. Subasa only really works on Pretty Sparkle and World of Fantasy, obviously, which she is on both of these teams. And then she also has an orb change. She, I think, is pretty decent. The only thing though is that this increases based on the number of times allies receive an ultimate, and like usually you want to avoid taking ults, and a lot of times characters have single target ults. So this typically, if you're not on the Pretty Sparkle team, and I think if you run her with World of Fantasy, you'll run into the problem of not really being able to take full advantage of this, of the 60%. Maybe you'll get like 20-30%, but you also like, you don't want to be taking damage to buff yourself. I think it's a pretty bad mechanic overall. Like it just doesn't sound good. You know what I mean? But this is still like, if you can get it, it works really well. And then she also has an orb change of the special one, which is nice. But overall, I would say compared to like Yom and Tria and stuff like that, I think she can sit at A, and I think that's fine. She's kind of like Cliche, where she works well on the team. I think a little bit more important than Cliche, honestly, on her own team. You're not really. I don't really think you're gonna be running her on World of Fantasy, because like you could just use other characters, and I think they'd be better. But like she's still a viable option on that team. I just don't think she's anything super crazy like Yom and Tria and Isis and Geld and Water Reamer. Like they just do so much for their team, and she does, but like you need to like the orb change is fine, but her main thing, the attack buff, is a little bit iffy. I don't like the mechanic. So I think she just can sit in A comfortably. I don't think she's that bad to be in any of these tiers, but I don't think you're not bringing her everywhere, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I've been talking for 25 minutes straight. I need to drink some water, but let me know down below what you guys think, if you guys agree or disagree. I think I placed it accurately, like for these characters. Like I just can't see them being like the best of the best, but Shuna's just built for like outside of their team, which is kind of what makes you hit this top tier. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think. If I'm maybe underestimating, overestimating a certain character, or you know, if you disagree or agree with what I have to say. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button as well. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.